Hello and welcome to the home of the Ghost Owl, as we are in Warhammer the Old World looking at the Dwarven mountain holds. Now we've done a comparison of the different characters, and we've done a comparison of the melee infantry, and now it's the turn of the missile infantry, so let's take a look. So while we aren't looking at the individual special rules for the units in detail, we are aware of them, we've gone through those individual units in detail. But unlike the previous two, this time, because it's missile infantry, one of the things that really matters is the weapon, right? Because that's what really sets them apart. So we've put the weapon stats in here as well as giving them the points value. So first up is you've got the Quarrelers in here. Now, bear in mind that Quarrelers compared to Rangers, now I get that one unit of Rangers can be core, but Quarrelers are the sort of basic core unit. And you then look at that against the Dwarf infantry, the Dwarf warriors. You can get strength 5 with great weapons. They've got 4+ save, but crossbows, right? And you look at crossbows. Look at Thunderers. Thunderers identical to Quarrelers in all respects, but range 30 inches. Right, 24 is not the worst. The Iron Drakes have that, but they have They've got strength 5, right? So you've got crossbow, same strength as the handgun, but it's got 6 inches more to range. Now the lack is the AP, so if you need the guaranteed AP -1, then of course you can get that from the Thunderers, but the Armor Bane, you get Armor Bane 2, so you can get to that -2 with Armor Bane, the same as you can get to -2 with the Thunderer. So again, I just, and given the fact that Quarrelers are cheaper per model, that's why it always puts me into the Quarreler. I kind of feel like the Thunderers aren't offering enough to separate them. Almost like I kind of feel like crossbows maybe should have an AP of -1 and like no Armor Bane. And the Thunderers, like the handguns, should be like AP -1 with like Armor Bane 2 or something to set them apart, so that you want your handguns to really deal with the heavy armor, and your Quarrelers kind of dealing with everything else. But with Armor Bane 2, yeah, you're only missing that 1 AP. So for me, I would default to the Quarrelers every time. When you're looking at the Rangers, they've got that extra ballistic skill, which is really nice. They can have the great weapon, the same as a Quarreler. So basically you've got a Quarreler that has a ballistic skill of 4, which is actually really quite nice. Got the good save. They can have their skirmish formation and everything else. But they are a bit more expensive on points. So Rangers not bad. Rangers are not bad. They actually, when you start to look at them with the stats like this, you go, actually, there's probably more in there for the Rangers than you initially think. If you like Quarrelers, then Rangers are probably a good option in here as well. It's just how many points do you want to spend on that, the core? But I could definitely see some like 2 units of Quarrelers and a unit of Rangers to make up a core would be quite interesting. And again, preferring them over the Thunderers. And you can take 1 unit of Rangers as core. So, when you look at the Rangers here, you can actually see the Rangers stick out as being quite nice. And they can even do a bit in melee. Melee with the great weapon. The Iron Drakes are another interesting one. They got that ballistic skill of 4, which is nice. They got a strength of 4, just basic, which is good. So I kind of made it amber because they got more basic strength. The Quarrelers, Thunderers, and Rangers have to pick great weapons and pay for the great weapons. I got the 4+ save, but their weapons are quite interesting because they got that lower range, which is 18 inches, which is 6 inches, down off the handgun, which is their sort of closest, and they're at 12 inches down off a crossbow, that's significant. Right, that's significant, but with the way that I think you're going to use these guys, which is a smaller unit, probably as a detachment for iron breakers in a lot of cases, the 18-inch range actually is probably going to be less of an issue because you are going to push these guys up the board. They got the full plate armor with no shield, so they get that 4+ standard as well. The strength 5 is really nice. That pushing that strength up just a bit more is good. And here's where you've got the Armor Bane 2 on a handgun, and you kind of go, maybe crossbows should have Armor Bane 1 instead of Armor Bane 2, and then handguns have Armor Bane 2. I don't know, but with the Iron Drakes, you kind of got the Strength 5 handgun that's AP -1 plus Armor Bane 2, so they can get to AP -3 if rolling 6s to wound, right? So you're going to try and push that up as much as possible. Dwarf crafted as well, so they can deal with the. They don't have the -1 when they're doing the charge, and so they're doing the charge reaction for stand and shoot. Flaming attacks, situational, but quick shot as well. So, but they are the most expensive. But given what they're trying to do, given the fact that you've got the sort of champion with that troll hammer torpedo thing, you can see, and they're a rare choice. So you're not going to take them in as many numbers as you're going to take the quarrelers and rangers and so on. But they definitely have value as missile infantry because of what they do. They definitely fill a niche. The rangers are kind of the ones where you go, what are you trying to do with the rangers? Because you put them out on their own, then they've got an issue as scouts because they're potentially unsupported. So, are you better off going for the much cheaper quarrelers? And that's the thing, does that extra ballistic skill plus their extra special rules, which is really around the scout and the skirmish formation, make up for that additional points cost? Bearing in mind they've got the same range weapon. So it depends really what you're trying to get them to do. The one thing the Rangers are going to give you is that bit extra mobility in an army that overall is pretty static and slow. So that can be interesting. But there you go. That's the missile infantry comparison. I hope it kind of, you get to see with the numbers there, why I quite like quarrelers over thunderers and why I kind of feel like handguns and crossbows are a bit kind of close together in terms of the points value. Where the rangers kind of sit, that actually when you first look at rangers, you go, they're kind of a more expensive quarreler, but there's actually some benefit in there when you add their rules in and the fact they do have the ballistic skill 4. And then the Iron Drakes, which again, for me, they fill quite a specific role. So that's the missile infantry comparison. Again, I hope you found that useful. Next up, we're going to take a look at the different war machines. If you enjoyed this video, though, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. If you want to see more content, though, hit the subscribe button. It's super important for me. It's free for you. It takes seconds for you to do. So I do really, really appreciate it. And thank you to all those that have subscribed already. You've been watching The Ghost Owl, and then tune back in as we take a look at the War Machine comparison.